Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ketogenic Nutritionist Podcast. I'm your host and registered dietitian, Temple Stewart. If you do not follow me on Instagram, you are missing out. Go there. I'm the.ketogenic.nutritionist, and make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss a video. Today's video is going to be super helpful. It's going to get you through the holidays. As you guys already know, I am a weight loss and insulin resistance dietitian. That means the holidays can be extremely challenging. This is oftentimes when sugar consumption is at its highest. On average, people consume about 22 teaspoons of added sugar per day during the holidays. This is nearly 3 times the recommended limit, and I have problems with the recommended limit in itself. Holiday sweets, it's estimated that Americans eat roughly 7 billion pounds of candy annually, with a significant portion between Halloween and New Year's. And the average American consumes 6,000 calories on Christmas Day alone. The post-holiday period sees a surge in hospital visits for heart attacks, strokes, etc., often linked to overeating and sugar intake. And then holiday beverages are sugar bombs. Festive drinks like eggnog, holiday themed lattes, etc., can contain roughly 50 grams of sugar per cup. So what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is the holidays can be a huge challenge for those of us that may have struggled with sugar in the past, and or just know that the holidays are always pretty hard to get through if we're staying on track and trying to meet our weight loss goals. So long-winded way of saying today's video, we're going to talk about how to get through the holidays without messing up your weight loss journey and or your health journey. If you're working on insulin resistance or you're trying to improve your A1C, whatever the case may be, do not let the holidays be the reason you don't hit it at the end of 2024, okay? And or do not let the holidays be the reason you don't go into 2025 strong, all right? So what I'm going to go through today is I'm going to go through 25 tips to avoid sugar and or reduce sugar intake over the holiday season. So let's jump in. Number one, obviously, focus on whole foods. Stick to fresh veggies, meats, healthy fats. All of that is going to be the biggest and most important tip. Think roasted Brussels sprouts over, candied yams. Try to make your dishes whole food based. Bring your own dessert. I know this is a time, number two, bring your own dessert. This is a time where we're invited to holiday parties. We're doing cookie decorating, all the things. Make sure you bring a dessert that you can consume that is low carb. You could do something like a chocolate mousse, a keto-friendly chocolate mousse. Just make sure you have an option. If you're not bringing your own option, there's a high likelihood that someone's not going to bring it either, and you're not going to have anything to consume. And that's when temptation is really going to take over. So I really want to encourage you to bring your own dessert. I love some of the dessert recipes from Diet Doctor, Yummily.com, Ruled Me. That's a keto website as well. Look on my Instagram. I have a ton of low carb, keto friendly recipes there either as well. Number three, eat before you go. Holiday parties are infamous. There is oftentimes very high sugar, high carb options with not a lot of protein and not a lot of vegetables. If you do not eat before you go, your temptation will skyrocket. Okay. So it is often very hard to avoid that temptation when you're already there. It's even harder when you're hungry, right? And so eat before you go. Make sure that snack or meal that you have before you go is very protein rich. So make sure, a meat stick, you could do cheese, you could do a boiled egg, anything like that, but eat before you go. Number four, stay hydrated. We often think dehydration is a hunger cue, right? So we can mistake these two. I really encourage people to keep a water bottle handy around the holidays. Bring it to parties with you. Make sure you're doing electrolytes as well. It's not enough to stay hydrated with just water. Make sure you're having electrolytes too. Number five, I love a good cheese plate, right? This is another really good option that you can bring if you are bringing food. Bring a cheese plate, charcuterie board, meats and cheeses, olives, nuts and seeds. Those can all be great options that you can nibble on something that's not going to be high in sugar, but will also be satisfying. Number six, use cinnamon. I love cinnamon. This is the thyme, nutmeg, pumpkin spice. All of that is great options for sweetening up desserts and or making those low carb keto friendly desserts taste even better. Sprinkle cinnamon on your coffee, use it in recipes, and or like I said, nutmeg or pumpkin pie spice. Those are all fantastic options to take your dessert or tray to the next level. Limit alcohol. Alcohol increases sugar cravings, and a lot of alcoholic drinks are just loaded with sugar. If you are going to have alcohol, make sure you opt for dry wines, spirits with soda water, sugar-free mixers, etc. Alcohol will get you in trouble over the holidays. Not only is it a useless nutrient, but it also lowers your, reasoning and decision-making capabilities. So you are more likely to, chow down on that high sugar dessert, etc. Number 8, practice saying no, thank you. It is totally okay to refuse food. You are getting permission from a dietitian right now. Peer pressure should never be used to make people eat. And I know a lot of people feel this over the holidays. Family situations, friend situations, you are not obligated to eat what people serve. Okay. And I'm not saying be rude about it, but there's no reason why you need to feel pressure to eat ever with anyone. So practice saying no, thank you. Don't feel obligated to accept everything offered. You can politely decline foods. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You don't even have to give a reason. Make sugar-free hot cocoa. I know, I love me a good hot cocoa, peppermint mocha. All these things are so fun. You can totally make them sugar-free. There's versions online, Chalk Zero. There's a lot of different brands online that have these options, or you can make your own. You can use unsweetened cocoa, heavy cream, and a sugar substitute like stevia or monk fruit. All of that will work. Number 10, choose dark chocolate. If you're craving something sweet, you want a little bit of a dessert, dark chocolate's a great one. I like to go for things that are 85% cacao and higher. These often have less sugar. Nowadays, you can find them sweetened with stevia. Again, I've already mentioned Chalk Zero. I love me some Chalk Zero. Lily's is not a bad option. There's a lot of really good dark chocolates out there. 11, load up on veggie trays. When the appetizers are out, make a beeline for the veggie tray. I'm telling you, guacamole, ranch dip, even hummus is not bad. Honestly, it's got a little bit of carbohydrate in it, but nothing terrible. Or bring a veggie tray, right? Going back to that tip I gave earlier, you could bring a veggie tray, but load up on veggies, whole foods, and fiber. That's going to really help you. And I love dips like guacamole, homemade ranch. I just posted on my Instagram a homemade high protein ranch dip. Do that. Number 12, swapped mashed potatoes for cauliflower mash. You can swap a lot of foods with cauliflower. It's one of the most versatile veggies. A creamy cauliflower mash with butter is a great alternative to regular potatoes. I think having some number 13. Keto fat bombs. I think these are helpful to have on hand. You can have them in your freezer when cravings strike. You can make them with coconut oil, nut butters, cacao, chocolate. I like to put a little protein powder in them as well. Sometimes that will kind of be a bit of a treat for you and help you avoid regular sugar. Watch out. Number 14, watch out for sugar in condiments. This is another area. Condiments, gravies, sauces, things of that nature will sneak up on you real quick, right? So just be cautious, especially if you're dining out. If there's a specific condiment that you want to use, bring it, buy it. But be aware there's a lot of sugar in condiments. The other thing that's oftentimes in condiments is a lot of seed oils. So I'm not going to tell everyone to make your own at home, but if you can do it, I also like things like Primal Kitchen, Chosen Foods. Those are all good options when you're looking for condiments. Number 15, use monk fruit and stevia in recipes. When baking, replace it, right? They have so many baking options now, 1-to-1 to sugar. This is a guilt-free sweetener. Please don't hesitate to use it. 16, this is arguably one of the most important tips I give over the holiday season. Fill up on protein first. Protein is critical. Prioritize turkey, ham, steak, any other protein at holidays, and that will help you crave things less. It will also be extremely satisfying. It's also very hard to overeat when you have consumed enough protein. So just make sure you're eating protein first at meals. Make a beeline for it, just like the veggie tray. I love protein first. And then, even better, and I'll take this up a notch, if you can do protein first and then you add in vegetables, that's an option. And then carbs last. Dessert always needs to go last for best blood glucose control. You want dessert last. Number 17, avoid sugary coffee drinks. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes at me right now. I know they taste great. The pumpkin, spice latte, the peppermint mocha. Believe me, back in my old days, I love these things, but a lot of these are around 500 calories to 1,000 calories per drink. And many, many of them have twice as much sugar than a soda. Okay. So I just want you to be aware that, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, they are not concerned about your metabolic dysfunction. And I'll tell you that right now, because if they were, they wouldn't be putting all these syrups and sugars in your drinks. Okay. So make it at home. Look up recipes online that are keto friendly. I've seen, keto friendly peppermint mocha at Starbucks recipes floating around. Do not be afraid to use things like that. I'm a sucker for good old pumpkin spice cold brew that you can get from Chameleon at Sprouts. And I just put a little coconut oil, milk in there, a little bit of stevia, and that is my cold brew pumpkin spice. So watch out for those sugary coffee drinks. It will catch up on you too. Opt for fruit sparingly. This is number 18. I think going for fruit is okay when you're craving something sweet if the other option is dessert. The problem with going for fruit is high in sugar. I'm not saying it's bad, but sometimes it can just continue to increase those cravings and wants for more sugar. So just be cautious. Opt for fruit sparingly, and I add the word sparingly. I would prefer you to try something like protein first. 19, make sugar-free cranberry sauce. I know a lot of you love cranberry sauce. I do too, grew up on it. That's fantastic. Make it sugar-free. You can use fresh cranberries and a sugar substitute like monk fruit or stevia. There's tons of recipes online. I will link some in the show notes as well. I just want you to know there's a lot of options, so make an alternative. Number 20, choose nuts over candied snacks. Instead of eating candied nuts or sugary snacks, stick to the plain roasted nuts to stay full and satisfied. Don't overdo the nuts though. Anybody who's ever had peanut butter before knows that you can easily overeat nuts as well. You can easily overeat peanut butter as well. So just be cautious with this. But yes, nuts are a much better option than candied snacks. 21, snack on hard-boiled eggs. This goes back to the protein, right? Hard-boiled eggs are a wonderful source of protein. They have choline, they're like a little multivitamin, right? And so when you're having these are a fantastic snack, very high protein, very satiating, and it will help you avoid those sugary temptations as well. Number 2, if you're faced with a juice situation, dilute it with sparkling water. If you like the holiday punches, all the other kind of fun drinks, dilute them with this sparkling water. Use just a very, very small amount of those juices. I mean, best yet, skip the punch and just drink the plain sparkling water. You could even add a little lemon or lime or something fun to it. But if you must, dilute the juice with sparkling water. I think that's helpful. 23, seasonings over sauces. So opt for using herbs and spices to season your food instead of using like sauces, especially sauces that contain sugars. Example, you can roast your turkey with rosemary and garlic. And so that can be an option as well. A lot of those seasonings as well are functional foods. They have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, etc. It can be very, very beneficial to your health on top of providing flavor for your foods. Number 24, keep sugar-free mints or gum handy. I like this one. Sometimes when you are faced with a scenario where there's temptations where there's a lot of sugary food, sometimes chewing on, xylitol sweetened mints or hard candy can be helpful. That can kind of occupy your mind, distract yourself until, the party's over, you're no longer having those temptations. So I always like to keep something like that in my purse. And it also is a good kind of palate cleanser to let you know the meal is done. We don't need anything else. We don't need to have, extra dessert or anything else that might be available. It's almost like brushing your teeth, but not really. It's kind of like turning the lights out of the kitchen. It's just letting you know that you don't need more. And then 25, I'm going to do 26 actually, because I'm going to add one more after this one. But practice mindful eating. I love the holidays because we're surrounded by family. We're surrounded by friends. We're surrounded by, good experiences and sights and smells, very nostalgic. I know this may not be the case for everyone. I know the holidays aren't always happy, but it is very critical that we do mindful eating in the holidays. It's so easy to be distracted by what we've got to do next, or entertaining this person or the next party or the host or the gathering or whatever it may be. But I want to encourage you, when you sit down for a meal during the holidays, sit down and be fully there. Notice the smells, notice the textures, notice the sounds, notice the people that you're with. Eat very slowly and savor every bite. We're not in a rush. This helps us feel more satisfied, and it does help you prevent overindulging. It also gives your brain and stomach time to connect and realize, okay, hey, I'm full. I don't actually need more food. And so mindful eating, slowing down, avoid being in front of the TV. That's another really big one that will get you distracted, or your phone. Be present, be fully present. And then number 26, and I said I was going to do 25, but I thought of one I wanted to add. Implement the 3-bite rule. So the 3-bite rule works for most. It may not work for everyone, but you should just try it. So the 3-bite rule is taking 3 bites out of whatever food that you really, really want to have that is kind of a little higher in carb or higher than sugar than you would like. Take 3 bites of it. Oftentimes our brain doesn't get much more reward from dopamine after we've had 3 bites. And so having those 3 smaller bites can be extremely satisfying when it comes to the dessert, when it comes to the craving, when it comes to the temptation, etc. Just keep yourself at 3 bites. I know not everyone can do this. I know that this is really more so for moderators versus abstainers. But if you feel like this is something you could at least try to implement, do it. I think it allows for some flexibility while also keeping control without you kind of flying off the rails. And so 3 bite rule can be extremely beneficial, and it helps you satisfy those cravings without overindulging. Now, that's it, folks. That's it for my holiday tips. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit subscribe so you don't miss another video. If you have any questions about something I've said or you want more advice, please comment, follow along. Again, I engage with a lot of my followers on Instagram, but I'm so honored you're here. So if you have some time, leave a rating if you enjoyed this and or it's helpful, and I will see you guys at or on the next episode. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your October season.